Today you can go to the store and fill your bellies with anything that you crave that's meaty, whether it's meatballs or crumbles or burgers. But sometimes, you read the ingredients and you go, I don't really want to put that into my body. Well, what if you could have something that's not only tasty, but healthy and instant in your cupboard at all times? Today I want to show you a recipe from my vegan meat cookbook. It's an instant burger and crumble mix that you make out of red lentils and a whole grain, and you can keep stored away in your cupboard and pull out anytime you want to have a meatball or some crumbles for your tacos or a burger to throw on the grill. It's versatile, you can season it any way you like, and because you made it, you'll know what goes into it. So let's get started. All right, for this instant mix, we're gonna start out with red lentils, bulgur wheat or brown rice, some pecans or walnuts, some granulated garlic, some dehydrated onion, which I don't have, so I'm just gonna substitute with a little bit more granulated garlic, some nutritional yeast, flax seeds or chia seeds to help bind it all together, a little bit of xanthan gum, and some freshly ground black pepper. Now, as far as xanthan gum is concerned, you may be wondering what it is. It's actually a natural byproduct of fermenting sugar with a particular bacteria called Xanthomonas campestris. Now, I can guarantee you I'm not going to remember that. Okay, into the blender they go. I got 1 cup of red lentils. I have 1 cup of bulgur wheat, a little bit of farro. I kind of didn't have quite enough bulgur wheat. I've got a few tablespoons of chia seeds. You can use flax seeds instead. A half a cup of walnuts or pecans, a half a cup of nutritional yeast. I have about 2 tablespoons of granulated garlic. I don't have any granulated onion, so I'm just adding a little bit more garlic. I have the 2 teaspoons of xanthan gum. And then I'm going to add about 2 teaspoons of sea salt. And now remember, this is a basic mix without a lot of flavor, so you can add whatever spices you want, whether it's for taco mix or Italian meatballs. All right, now we're going to process this until it's sandy and gritty. Now we don't want to over process because we do want the mixture to have a little texture. I'm just going to scrape down the sides. Another 10 seconds or so, and then I think this is ready. Okay, so I think the instant burger mix is ready to be stored in your cupboard or your refrigerator. And now I'm going to show you how we can turn this into crumbles for your tacos and a burger for the grill. At first, I'm going to show you how to make quick crumbles for tacos or, I don't know, lasagna, whatever you want to use it for. I'm going to season it sort of like tacos with whatever kind of odd, random spices I happen to have in the cupboard. I don't have a lot right now. So I'm starting out with 1 cup of this mix. And to this, I'm going to just give it some seasoning. Oh, I have some alderwood smoked sea salt. So we'll put a little bit of that in there. And then I'm going to add some cumin. I was completely out of ground cumin, so I just bought it from the store. I haven't even bothered to transfer it to a jar yet. I do have some chili lime seasoning blend, but it seems to have expired. So I'm going to add a little bit of organic chili powder as well. Okay, so now if you want to do this Italian style, you might want to add some garlic, some oregano, some basil, some onion powder, that kind of thing, and maybe a little bit of tomato paste. But we're going to make this sort of taco style. To the 1 cup of mixture, I'm going to add 3/4 cup boiling water. And then we have to let this sit for about 15 minutes so that it all comes together. And then we can cook it in a saute pan. It's going to be very, very gooey looking, and you're going to go, there is no way that is going to turn into crumbles. But it actually does, believe it or not. And when you think about not only the convenience of having something like this on hand, but the fact that it's made out of completely whole foods ingredients instead of things that you can't pronounce, no isolated proteins. I mean, this is really just taking power of your food system back into your kitchen and taking control. All right, so we're going to let that sit for about 15 minutes. So as it turns out, I don't have a nonstick pan. I highly recommend that you use a nonstick pan for cooking these crumbles, but I do have a stainless steel pan. Now, one way to make any pan almost nonstick is to make sure that you heat it up very, very well before you add any oil to it, and then add your oil and then heat it up again. So I'm hoping this is gonna act like a nonstick pan. This is a really great brand, Heston. It's stainless steel, has copper, I think has aluminum. It's a wonderful, wonderful pan. So I'm gonna add my olive oil to this, and this mixture is going to eventually turn into crumbles for your tacos. Okay, we're gonna start breaking it up. And if it sticks, just scrape it. And it's all gonna turn into nice little crumbles. The first time I showed this recipe was at a Veg Fest many, many years ago. And people were sort of in disbelief that this was actually gonna turn into crumbles, and sort of like magic in a way. But it's wonderful when you can have your cupboard filled with ingredients like this that make dinner in a hurry, that are made from whole food ingredients, where you didn't have to go out and buy something that, you don't want to put into your body. If you haven't yet seen You Are What You Eat, that is a documentary on Netflix you should definitely check out. I got to make a feature appearance in all 4 episodes, but it's really about an experiment that Stanford conducted with 22 identical twins, identical genes, and they put one on a vegan diet, the other one on a healthy omnivorous diet for 8 weeks to figure out what would happen to them. Would there be any results that could differentiate between the 2 diets? The most important thing that I found, for me, the most impactful thing was that the telomeres that determine how youthful you are actually grew in the short 8-week period in those that were eating a vegan diet. In other words, eating vegan can help you preserve your longevity, your youthfulness. And as we get older, that's something that we're all thinking about, is how do I put off aging just a little bit more? So I am gonna have to scrape them a little bit, but that'll just make my crumbles nice and brown. So as you can see, it's becoming crumblier as I cook these. And you just want to keep cooking this until they're completely crumbled. Someone send me a nonstick pan. No, but this is actually working pretty well. Now that my pan is nice and hot, they're really not sticking. So remember, you can use bulgur wheat. If you want to make it gluten-free, you can use brown rice. You could probably use barley. There's a variety of whole grains that you could use in conjunction with the red lentils to create the texture of these crumbles. And they're not sticking at all now, so we're just gonna let that cook a little bit to firm up. The crumbles are ready, and I happen to have these cute little tortillas in my refrigerator, so I'm going to use these and make a couple of little tacos here. So let's throw together a couple of little tacos. Put my burger crumbles in here. I always pack my tacos way too big. I have this nice little green from the garden called wasabi nut, and I also have some cilantro. I've got some grated vegan cheese. Put that in my tacos. And of course, it's winter. We don't have any tomatoes, but I do have some jarred salsa. And I'm going to top it with some homemade sour cream. Now, I've been playing around. I have a new book coming out, The Vegan Creamery, in 2025. And I have been playing around with all these different milks and curdling them and then draining them And that's how I make this milk. So this sour cream, that is. This is made out of almonds and pumpkin seed milk. All right, so there's my taco. And I'm going to give it a taste. That's pretty tasty. I mean, this is dinner or a snack in a hurry for a crowd. Just pull out your mix, throw in some water and some seasonings, saute it, and you got dinner. I pivoted from burgers to meatballs because I'm kind of in that mood of maybe have some pasta tonight with some meatballs. So I've got a cup of the mixture here. I've got some quartered cremini mushrooms in here. I'm going to pulse them until they're finely chopped. Alrighty, perfecto. This is exactly how I want them. All right, we're gonna get some garlic in there. Gotta get some flavor in these meatballs. One went onto the floor, but that's okay. Smash my garlic. Okay, into my mix, I'm gonna add some marjoram, rosemary, sage. You can add Italian seasoning if you like. I'm making do with what I have in my spice cabinet. And now I'm gonna add about 3 tablespoons of tomato paste. I'm gonna finely mince my garlic. Now, if I had thought about it earlier, I would have thrown this in with the mushrooms and just minced it all together, but I didn't think about it early enough. So I'm left to my own devices here to finely mince this with a knife. So we're gonna make these pretty garlicky. So get that garlic in here. Okay, and now I'm gonna add the hot water. We're gonna add about 3/4 cup of hot water. All right, I'm gonna add the mushrooms and then we're just gonna give it all a really, really good stir. It's kind of looking meaty, isn't it? The mushrooms give it that. The mushrooms will give it a little bit of juiciness while the instant burger mix will give it that sort of meatiness, so it's going to be perfect. And then we're going to hold it all together. We're going to add about 1.5 cups of breadcrumbs or panko. All right, it's time to form some meatballs and put them in the oven. So you can do it with your hands. You can also do it the easy peasy method. Just get a small ice cream scooper and just do little scoops like that. I kind of like doing them with my hands. You know, they just feel, I like the texture. I just love being able to roll these and make them as big or as little as you like. You know, if you're making meatballs for a big crowd, you may just want to use an ice cream scooper. Then we're going to get these into the oven, bake them off for about 25 minutes or so, and then cover them with your favorite sauce. Okay, I'm one short. That makes me very, very unhappy. So I have to borrow from a few others just so I have an even number. I'm just one of those weirdos. So take a little bit off of a bunch of them so I can get one more in this row, and then I'll be happy. Let's see which ones are the biggest. Maybe a little bit more off of this guy. All right. Yeah, okay, so now we're gonna get these in the oven. You can bake them just like this, completely oil-free, or you can just drizzle a little olive oil on them, or you can fry them up later in olive oil. All right, let's get this in the oven. Okay, so these are ready now. You can keep these frozen in your refrigerator, and when you're ready, you can just saute them up again in a saute pan with a little bit of olive oil to brown them and cook them through all over again. And now I'm gonna give them a taste. It's not basil season, so I just have some pea sprouts. the leaves from pea shoots to give it a little bit of green color. Let me give it a taste. That's good. Whether it's eaten by itself as a polpette or on a plate of pasta, that's an honest meatball made out of whole food ingredients that you had in your cupboard, and you made that all by yourself with this crumble mix. So, I hope you give this a try, and I'll see you again next time on The Vegan Good Life with Miyoko.